In 8th grade, I started Ben Queen Photography. Back then, it was taking pictures at sporting events, selling them to parents for $1 a piece. So the business experience then wasn't what it is now. I grew up, expanded that business, built a new website with CityNet, a local, very talented people, and grew that business to where other young amateur photographers can post their pictures for sale online without having to do anything else. They can post those pictures. 60% of the total sales goes to them. We handle everything else. It gave other people an option to sell their stuff without having to pay $15,000 for a website.
We started up here because our manager, named Jack Cooper, dreamed of being able to come back to West Virginia, create jobs and create opportunities for the people that live there. He's a native of Beckley. He served in the military for 21 years, and he wanted to come back. Since 2009, we have grown. We now have over 50 employees working for us. We recently opened a $4 million facility, and our reputation in the oil and gas industry has never been better in this region. We have people calling us from all over the tri-state area because they want us on their wells. That's our success story. We share it with the local people. We do everything we can and have never had to go outside of the state to hire workers.
There's three things that I would point to that I think are necessary for growing businesses like my own and getting more high-tech, high-growth businesses off of university campuses. That is talent, community, and capital. And there's been a number of things that the state has done in the past couple of years in each of these areas, and of course there's always room for a lot more to be done. Bucks for Brains is one of the most important recent developments in what I would call building that talent base that the state legislature has put into place that attracts that talent to the universities. I think there's additional things that can be done beyond that to help that talent then convert their ideas into businesses in the form of seed capital, angel investment, incentives, and the like. One of the programs that we were able to take advantage of was a high growth business investment tax credit that was in place from 2005 to 2008. That was an important program that allowed investors in high growth, high technology companies to receive a 50% tax credit on their investment, up to over a 3-year period beyond the investment. That program, what we found in practice is that didn't necessarily convince someone to invest just because that credit was there. But if they knew they could get that credit, they would actually often invest twice as much as what they would have normally invest. So it helped raise a lot of capital for us, and I think it's important to take a look at programs like that can help incentivize angel investment, particularly in companies like ours where a lot of our investors are not subject matter experts.
I like to consider myself a very small business owner. I have never, in the 30 years I've been in business doing construction in this area, had over 10 employees. So sometimes my perspective is a little bit different than some of the larger employers. What I wanted to speak today about is I want to say how much I appreciate the West Virginia legislature for getting involved in the Affordable Health Care Act. Though I do know there might be instances when it's harmful, but in my case, it was a very positive thing.
Looking around the room, I think we all have a similar goal in mind, and that's to make West Virginia a better place and a better place to do business. And I think sometimes we miss the overall goal, which is West Virginia is its own entity that has to compete across the United States of America with its own policies. And we right now are the victim of bad policies and the unintended consequences of them. If you want to fix West Virginia and make it a better place to do business and provide the one thing that really makes everybody in this room worthwhile, is you need to provide more people. You need to be able to grow the population, because if not, we're all sitting here fighting over the same piece of pie. And what do you do to grow the population? You make West Virginia an attractive place for other businesses to come here, other people to come here. 1.8 million people was the population of West Virginia in 2013. It's down 50,000 people from 2012. People are leaving the state year after year after year after year because of lack of opportunity, lack of jobs, which is the most important thing, and lack of capital and lack of human resources.
Tourism is the only business that's ever been in the Appalachian region that every dollar that's made stays here. And the resource renews itself every time some Yankee comes down from Ohio or wherever. You know, it's a renewable resource that renews itself every day. It's a wonderful thing. But like Dave said, we see tourism declining, and tourism is at a breaking point, just like Dave said. If we don't start spending money, if the state doesn't start spending money on tourism, marketing, you're going to see tourism fall off the face of the earth. And it's really the only thing here in West Virginia that has any opportunity to replace the lost revenue from coal. West Virginia's marketing budget for direct marketing for tourism is under $3 million. That's all they spend buying ads and doing TV. Every state around us spends at least triple that. Gatlinburg, just the city of Gatlinburg spends $10 million a year direct marketing. So Pigeon Forge spends that much. There's $20 million that those two places spend, not counting the budget of the state of Tennessee. So for every dollar that y'all put for direct marketing for tourism, $5 comes back in tax revenue. That's not a multiplier. That's not anything, any cute accounting. It's $5 for every dollar you spend. That's the national average. And and as far as being successful, the state's been great to work with. I've done business in Tennessee, Kentucky, and West Virginia, all in coal. And West Virginia is one of the best places to do business that I've ever done business.
I'm Rhonda Dorch, Bluestone Mountain Farm and Soap Company. I moved here in 2011 to expand my business and live in a quieter, more peaceful place where there's more of a sense of community. I came from a really busy city where you just kind of got lost in the shuffle, so I wanted to be more of the shuffle instead of lost in the shuffle. And I just felt the strength here with support from agriculture and just the local people that just kind of wanted to bond together and make things happen. And I just felt that as just a visitor when I came. So I moved here by myself with a trailer load of animals and found a great spot to land in Summers County. My business is goat's milks, essential oil soaps, and specialty soaps, and I do pasture-raised poultry. My focus is the meat. As far as the pasture, as far as successes, let's go back. The goats and that business is just bubbling right along. I have found the support from the Conservation District helping me get established here. That's been a success, is just the support that I came here and got. They helped me get water that I didn't have on my farm, and they helped me set up a lot of things about my farm that just wasn't functioning. And then support groups like the Greenbrier Valley Grown Initiative that helped get my product out there and just helped me feel like a part of the community and learn who the people were here, because I didn't know anybody when I landed.
We own the UPS store here in Logan, West Virginia. And we bought the store about 3 years ago from a previous owner. We've had a great success story. We took over a store that was doing around $80,000 to $85,000 in gross sales, and this year we're looking at doing around $325,000 in gross sales in 3 short years. So we've been very, very blessed, very lucky, very fortunate.
And one of the other things I thought of as far as what you all could do to help tort reform, and I know it's probably a four-letter word, but it is critical. We had a really bad accident where a truck ran into the side of our train, knocked the cars over. You heard about that in the news. Fortunately, we had followed all the rules and we weren't culpable. Had we have been just 1% culpable, we would have been 50% on the hook for all that. And so it turns out that the tort in this state, let's just go to Virginia, the same exact situation in Virginia would have allowed us to be basically involved in the whole thing. Even if we were 1%, we'd be 1% involved, you see. And so West Virginia has just a few things that would help on insurance, because our insurance is a little more difficult to get in West Virginia than it is in our other states. And we also have, Kathy and I have a little thing in Quebec, which is completely impossible. So there's some things that could be done there. There's not a lot. I will say that West Virginia is, I think, a very easy state to operate a business in.
One of the major issues this state has is broadband and telecommunications. And there's two primary areas of focus I would like to see the state legislature focus on. Two. And if they can start working on two things, a lot of these other issues that we have are going to fall into place. Those two things are telecommunications and education.
A lot of businesses that are in our area, in our industry, and Robbie and I share this, you know, they're required to have drug screening and random drug screening throughout. One of the questions that always comes up is, why is there an unlevel playing field from the standpoint of social assistance and unemployment benefits, and there's not a requirement there. There is a requirement with workman's compensation. As far as, you know, there's a policy there that if you get hurt on the job, the first thing you have is a drug screen if you do go to the hospital. However, why is there an unlevel playing field where there's a double standard? Now that's coming from businesses, and I thought that you would like to hear that.
The two positive things is that, one, the opportunity is amazing here, that the amount of money and people coming through, at least in our county, that's here, that's been untapped. And then Corridor H, bringing them over Virginia, I can't tell you how many people, once they see West Virginia, they never want to go home. They want to move here. They want to spend money. We have to get them over here. We have to get them over the mountain and take them away from Virginia and bring them into our state here. And once we do, then we have a problem because we can't figure out where to house them and feed them and all, you know, but that's a good problem to have. And I think we're going to continue to do that now that we see GPS really pushing everyone off of 50 and other places and to come through kind of 55 over on through Corridor H. That's been a great opportunity. The other thing is that the cost here of doing business is so much lower than anywhere else. I've had this idea of our store. Our store is a 4,000 square foot or 5,000 square foot old feed store from the 40s. And we created a all-American made, all locally made, and then a coffee shop with all homemade food, and an espresso bar in this huge space that has all kinds of different stuff, an art gallery and all kinds of things. I've always wanted to do that. It would have cost me, if I did the same thing in DC, probably $10 million to get the building, to bring everything in, to have to deal with the city, you know, all that kind of stuff. And out here, it cost me a tiny fraction of that. So the cost of doing it, the risk was smaller. So if my whole business fell apart today, I wouldn't go under, per se, as if I would have spent $10 million in DC trying to do the same thing. And so that, I think, is what another positive we have here in West Virginia. Those costs are low, the risks are lower. And I mean in cost-wise. I'm not saying, I mean, small businesses fail all the time. They're going to fail here as much as they do in DC. But when they fail in DC, they're spectacular sometimes. The costs, your entire savings are gone because of that failure.
Access to capital is just, for a small business, and you know, it's laughable to think that 100 employees is a small business. That's a rather large business to me. But I had a banker tell me, well, if you can write me a check for $50,000, we'll lend you $50,000 to buy another business. It was, there just seems to be, if you're growing, you're doing well. I mean, I wasn't asking for a freebie or anything like that. It just seems almost impossible to get capital for small businesses and that's not just West Virginia. I'm sure that's all over. Incentives for small businesses from the state. We often hear about tax incentives and other kinds of incentives for these large companies. I'm happy that Macy's is here, and our Economic Development Authority is great for doing that. But there's nothing for small businesses. There's no access or to different capital things or tax incentives or people that you can go to and say, hey, what can I do to grow my business? If we had that, I could probably have 40 to 50 full-time employees.
Mike, can I also ask you, you mentioned the competitiveness with the tax with the bordering states. A specific area of tax? Is it just the income? Is it other?
Well, I can give you an example that the Parkersburg or Wood County dealers did several years ago, and we compared ourselves to the dealers in Marietta, Ohio, which is 15 miles away. And the cost of doing business back then was $30,000 more for a Wood County dealer than it was for a Washington County dealer, Marietta, Ohio. So they have some tax advantages, and we have some tax advantages, and so.
Do you give us a sense of what some of those advantages are tax-wise? Would be helpful specifics.
Of course, that survey was done so long ago. Of course, in Parkersburg we had the B&O tax, which they don't have that tax. But Wood County or Parkersburg is going to do something about that, as these local legislators can tell you. They didn't have a tax on food, and that's indirectly affects our employees as much as us. And I can't remember the other things. Yep.
That's helpful, though. Thank you very much.
The local government has been a real pleasure to work with, and kind of blown negative stigma out of the water for them, and we try to repeat and share that to people as well, just to get that, see that paradigm shift in the community. As far as I guess the whole purpose of me being here and help, or what the delegates could do, I don't really have a whole lot of good answers for that. And a lot of times I talked about being honest and asking for help. I don't even really know what help to ask for. I think it would be great if there were some sort of maybe a grant system to help local businesses, especially ones that are involving the community, both for startup costs and advertising costs. Those are two really large investments that one doesn't see an immediate return on. The local institutions have done an excellent job of reaching out and helping us develop and kind of build a plan and things of that nature. So I think that's already in place.
It's a family-owned business. It's our family, and we're very, very proud of what we do. And what we do is we make people smile with really cool treats. It's pretty simple. We make people smile. It's a manufacturing business. And just to give you an idea of what we do and how we do it, over the past about 12 years, we've experienced double-digit growth every year for about 12 years. So our business is growing significantly, and it's totally in part to the people we have within our company. All of our employees, we care very much for the people that work for us. They work hard. They work every single day. Our factory runs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and our products are sold at grocery stores throughout the country. One of our customers is Walmart. We're very proud of our relationship with Walmart, as well as Kroger's and Dollar Tree and Dollar General and all the places where our products are sold. Our major growth really began in about, I would say, 2008, when we worked with the state economic development, and the IJDC, is that what it is? Is that what it is? Yeah, I think so. To build our freezers that we constructed just right up the street here. So our business, although it's been here for a long time, it was kind of obscure in the community. Everybody, some people knew we were here, but they didn't realize the scope of what we did until 2008, when we built 40,000 square foot of freezers, and they kind of came out of the ground, and everybody realized that Ziegenfelders is kind of a business that's here and here to stay.
My pet peeve deals with the state. And we have a couple other agencies here as well, and I'm sure it's not limited to marketing agencies, but when the state puts out an RFP, it goes out, we download it online, and there's almost always a pre-bid meeting, which requires a trip to Charleston. And literally, we put two people in a car, they drive 3 hours to Charleston for a pre-bid meeting. They walk in, sign their names, then they're ushered to a room, given a packet that contains the same material we downloaded from the web, and sent home. Another 3 hours on the road. That might work out well for businesses in Charleston, but it's not so good for us or companies in Wheeling or Martinsburg or Elkins. It's a hardship to compete take that much time out of our business to go down and be part of that. And then in the age of teleconferencing and go-to meetings, I can't understand why we aren't using those methods to participate in those pre-bid meetings to make it a little bit, level the playing field a little bit.
My name's Damian Farrick. I'm a small business owner here in Morgantown. I own Aseo Creative, which is a marketing design firm. Also in 2008 started Stick LLC, which is a vehicle wrapping company. In 2011, we founded and host the West Virginia Oil and Gas Expo. And then most recently, we just opened a small business as a tattoo shop here in Morgantown. So little different in that we've continue to try and grow businesses here in Morgantown and throughout the state. And I think one of the things that has helped us succeed has been the energy industry and everything going along with that. Part of our reason for starting the West Virginia Oil and Gas Expo was that it gave an opportunity and a chance for other small businesses in the state to be featured and show their products and services to those that are now relocating to the state and becoming, spenders and looking to hire locally. So I think that the energy industry has been something that has shown great value to us as a small company, not directly related to the oil and gas and the energy industry, but has been someone that has benefited from it. I think the pros, of the state has been completely the community and the support for small businesses to grow and succeed. I think that that's allowed us the opportunity to grow and expand our business models. I think the opportunities that we see and we ask from the state is to just continue to keep an open mind and be pro-business as new rules and regulations for these industries, specifically the energy industry, as it does affect other small businesses, not necessarily the owners and the operators that are coming into the state and running that, but that it does have a drastic effect on us as small businesses, speaking for both our clients that are also other small businesses in the area, and just seeing that business opportunity that's there.